Dun. Well, you say you're live, but you're not showing anything. Did I choose the wrong one? No, I am apparently live. All right. Well, text is saying I'm live. I don't see anything. Okay, I see it on that. My bad. No idea what's going on with my phone, but we will just get that out of the way. Cool, cool. What's going on, guys? What? Prost. So I've got a nice, good size stein here. I've got some Paulaner Oktoberfest Marzen. Oh, it has been way too long since I've had a good beer. I've been drinking Miller Lite for both the calories deficit and the wallet. But good Lord, that's good. We've got a coupon code going tonight. It is Bratwurst. It will be 10% off the entire evening. So you can use it after the live stream, before the live stream. I have links in the description to everything we're gonna use here tonight. This is the 22 one-shot attached to a 22 grinder. I've got some Bavarian Oktoberfest seasoning. We're going to use the electric sausage stuffer. So get ready. And I've got some hog casings going in there. They're already soaking, but we're gonna flush them together once I have everything all ready to be stuffed. We'll quickly flush those, then get back over here and get the mixing going. I think we'll have Austin come to deer camp, maybe Brett or Dylan. Listen, I set up this golfing trip forever ago, so that is unfortunately, this year is not my fault. Tex is trying to get me to come to him in Process Head, have this awesome deer camp, which, to be fair, I probably at this point would rather go to deer camp than golf. Although I did go golfing yesterday and I got an eagle. I drove a green that was 340 yards and then sunk like a 30-foot putt for an eagle. So pretty awesome day. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking a pork butt. We're gonna cut it down into pieces small enough to fit down the grinder. Then we're gonna use our Oktoberfest, Bavarian Oktoberfest seasoning from Excalibur and make some delicious traditional brats. Now, I am a larger fan recently, or specifically, of collagen casings, but as was pointed out by, I don't know who it was, I think it was, maybe it was Paul, he's like, he's probably gonna call that a bratwurst even though he's using collagen casings. And part of a traditional bratwurst is definitely hog casings, so I decided to go more traditional on this one. So we're using the electric stuffer so you don't get winded. Yeah. Hey, listen, the stuffing part isn't bad. It is the mixing part that I object to doing manually. I've gotten too used to my 50-pound Walton's meat mixer hooking up to my meat grinder and it doing all the work for me. Makes life much, much easier. Just obligatory me bitching about how wet and nonsensy these pork butts are. I feel like we could like almost treat this like pizza dough. We'll just flip it around a bunch of times and make it round because there's so much moisture in here. Days of good old unpumped, properly processed pork butts, I think are in the past. So is Papa Sop, who made fun of me. Look at this. Look at that. I mean, not that it's going to be a huge defect in it, but that's not something I want in my sausage. Blood clots are usually a sign of either just poor slaughtering techniques or a spike in adrenaline, especially with how dark red that is. A spike in adrenaline in the animal right before it was slaughtered. So, don't know where these came from. I'm sure nobody or nowhere that has anything to do with what you do, Tex. I'm sure you guys have just good pork. All right. So I'm just deboning these pork butts at this point. I assume if you're watching these, you know how to debone a pork butt very efficiently. So there's no real reason to go over that in great detail. If you can see this shirt, this is the shirt Austin and I were wearing on the podcast the one day. That is my enormous fish right across my lower belly. Then me and my dog, and then 3 pictures of Austin in the middle looking scared, something, and like interested. So my pictures are action pictures. His pictures are emotion pictures. We didn't choose any of this. They did this behind our back. This was not something we chose to do. And then I actually won this shirt doing some weird little game we do. Every 3rd Friday of the month, we close down a little bit early and do some just like company stuff, just like fun stuff. Somebody cooks. And we did this game where you push somebody on a little furniture mover type thing and try and get them right in the middle of this circle. And I won that. Of course, I slightly cheated, but thanks for using hog casings. You are welcome. You are welcome. So I weighed these before, and they came out to 18 pounds with the size of those bones. I'm guessing we're going to be somewhere right around 16.5 pounds. I've got my Ascali M series scale over here. I don't know if I brought that far enough over so you guys can see it. No. So this is the Ascali M series scale. Really good little platform scale. Not too expensive. Does a really nice job. So has digital readouts on both sides. Makes it really convenient and easy to use. I also did saute some onions ahead of time. We talked about this last time, but you can see how pale that some of that pork is. It's not quite PSE, but it's getting there. Not great. So I sauteed some onions earlier. I've got some nice brioche buns, and like I said, most importantly, I've got that Oktoberfest beer, which is going to be gone in just a couple of seconds. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to chug that, and then we will refill it. When you put your chin down, your double chin is covering your mic. Yeah, this, I'll put on the that in a second. I really just wanted to wear this shirt for the beginning, almost as a joke. So as soon as I'm done with this boning out these pork butts and cutting them up, I will get this shirt off. I'll put my apron on, and we'll get back to normal. I've got my Camp Chef out there up around 350 degrees. We're gonna be more careful this time. Last time with those Italian sausages, they slightly overcooked. I think they were mostly around like 170 something when I took them off. And obviously we don't want that. Not the biggest deal in the world, but we want to cook everything to 160 degrees. For anyone watching, if you don't know what the reason behind that is, like why you have to cook a sausage to 160 degrees, but you can cook a steak no hotter than like 120. It is because none, or very little at least, of the bacteria lives on the inside of that meat. It all lives on this outside here. So when we're cooking something to 120 degrees internal, we're well past the 160 degrees on the outside. So it's killed off everything. We've reached the point of what we call instant lethality. We go into that, it's a 7-log reduction, but really just think of it kills all the bad things that we're worried about. But when we grind something, we take all that bacteria, we mix it all into all the meat. So now we have to get everything cooked up to that 160 degrees. All right, let's get this out of here. We'll do a quick wardrobe change. So my double chins stop causing a problem for the audio. Sorry about that, Tex. Brian, if you were to give yourself any advice, what would you say? If you could give your younger self any advice, what would you say? I mean, I like my life. Probably something along the lines of my first marriage. Probably pay better attention to my ex-wife. Something like that would probably be. Although I'm happier now, so I don't know. Don't be so angry. I was a very angry kid and still have a pretty bad temper. So yeah, I think probably the best thing I could say would don't be so angry. 160 is about what in Celsius? Well, there's a whole formula, but I don't know it. So Celsius to F, 160 degrees Fahrenheit is 71.1 degrees Celsius. Ryan got that fast. Go to work for Walton sooner? Yeah, well, I mean, I've been here 11 years now. I found this, actually, no, that's not true. I found this place at the right time in my life. If the Waltons had met me in my mid-20s, we wouldn't have gotten along as well. Oh, that is good. Good. All right, we're gonna grind this, then we're gonna go over there, flush the insides of those casings, and then I don't wanna use one of my nice beers to add to this, so I've got just a little Yingling traditional lager. We're gonna add that in when we do all the mixing. Oh, yeah, we forgot to see how much this all weighs. So we said it was 18 pounds. Then I took the pork butts out, and we are at 16, 15, 8 something. So we're gonna say 16 pounds. So I anticipated that being the answer. And at 16 and a half pounds, it was 15 ounces of seasoning I need. So we're gonna grab 14 and 3/4 ounces. That is good beer. This is very, very good beer. Is it lower than boiling water? Yes. Water boils at like 210 or 211 degrees. This 160 is lower than that. Okay. Did I put the, yep, I put it on something. All right, so this is the Walton's One Shot. This does both our grinds on a single pass. So for anybody, well, maybe we need to weigh it again after we grind now, because I just dropped a decent sized piece on the floor. This does both the grinds in a single pass. And for anyone who's unfamiliar with making sausage with grinding, that second grind can take a really long time. So this definitely saves you a good amount of time. But it's just gonna run right through this. Wash it off, 5-second rule. I try not to do that. Strangely, when I feed other people stuff, we're pretty serious about sanitation. If it was for me and only I was eating this, I'd 100% eat something like that. But I don't quite have nightmares of contaminating food and making somebody sick, but it's close. Like, it's one of my bigger fears. Those sharks, losing my job, never selling my house, and then that. So all those things are right up there. Nothing is even close to sharks. Yep, it's always good to cook to correct temps. Now, with whole muscle cuts, that could be, I mean, that's almost more a point of preference, right? Like, I pull my steaks when I reverse sear at 115 degrees, and I cook them up to like 122 is what I'm shooting for usually. Then I pull it off and let it sit for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. And it's gonna cook probably another like 5-ish degrees at that point. So I eat my steaks at around 125 to 127. And for other people, that's way too rare. They wouldn't enjoy that at all. But we just ground, final grind, so we got both grinds done of around 16 pounds, probably gonna end up being like 15 and something of pork in just, what, a couple of minutes at most. How is the house selling going? I mean, we have one good thing happening. We have somebody who looked at it, who said they're selling their house, and if anything were to happen, we were to get an offer before their house sells to let them know, and they would make a contingent offer. So, we'll see. All right, forgot to turn that on. These weigh 1.7 pounds, and since it's already in there, or 1.6 pounds, I'm gonna have to subtract 1.6, and we are at 16.7, so we're at 15.1, so I'm gonna be right at 15 and a quarter ounces of seasoning. Now to get the seasoning, get that out of the way real quick. I've got my, get that out of the way. I have my Ascali Precision Digital Scale here. It's a great little ingredient scale. It's about 40 bucks. And it will measure in the fractions of the grams. So if you're looking to use really like tight ingredients like sodium erythorbate, or if you're wanting to make your own sausage seasoning, a scale like this really is an enormous help. But we're gonna weigh out 15 ounces, 15 and a quarter ounces right here. 14.8, 15.28, and we will call that good. I guess if he's using 3/16 plate. So yep, it is a 3/16 plate. So if I'm doing a bratwurst, I like going, if I'm doing a traditional grinding system, I like going through a 3/8 plate first and then a 3/16. With this, there's a kidney plate back in here, and then it goes right to a 3/16. You can do 2 grinds through a 3/8, but I like a 3/16 better. There are people that I'm learning, more and more people actually, are doing single grind 3/16 on bratwurst now. I don't recommend that solely for the purpose of too much stress on the proteins. Like I'm gonna bring this up close. On this, you're gonna see, and I hope you can see this, you're gonna see really nice, clearly defined sections of fat and lean. Everywhere we look, we have clearly defined pink and clearly defined white. If we go right from a whole muscle chunk right down to a 3/16 plate, it has a tendency to start smearing. It can also cause some protein shock, which can make some things a little bit more difficult later on. With a fresh bratwurst, it's not as big of a deal. But mix that all in. Let's remember not to drink this now because I've touched it with hands that have raw meat in them. We're gonna pour just about a little over half of that beer in there, and we're gonna start mixing. And when we're mixing here, I am going to make sure that I'm not getting any type of protein extraction. I don't want this to have any like hot dog-like texture. I want it to be nice and chunky, right? So we're just mixing it really softly. I'm almost more folding it in like a baker would fold something into their dough. I'm not doing any hard action on it. Tex or Papa Sop, will somebody put in that bratwurst right now into the chat? That bratwurst right now will get you 10% off any non-sale item at waltons.com. So just, if one of you could add that to a chat, I'd appreciate it. I've been using the 6 or 7 millimeter for your final grind. Yep, so that's the 3, now it's not even a 3/8 because 10 millimeter is 3/8. 4.5 millimeter is 3/16. So you're somewhere in between that. That's fine. The only one that, in my mind at least, it really does matter on is something like a hot dog or a cured sausage like a snack stick. On those, you need a 1/8 or smaller, if you can find it. Papa Sop, I think you will remember that during some video or live stream, I kept referencing 1/16. And I believe it was you who called me out on that or reminded me, like, hey, he means 1/8. Yeah, so your 6 or 7 millimeter for bratwurst is a reasonable amount. Like that's a reasonable thickness. That's a good one. All right. So we've got everything mixed in here. With this, the Bavarian Bratwurst seasoning, I'm not gonna add any cheese, anything like that. That's a nice thing about fresh sausage, breakfast sausage, bratwurst, anything like that. We don't need a bunch of additives, right? We're not adding nitrites to it. We don't need any type of pH alterer. We can add cheese, and there's tons of sausage that I do, but for something like this, I don't. So it's just a nice, easy sausage to make. We don't need a binder. So we're done in just a couple of minutes. Did either one of you guys add the word bratwurst as the coupon code? It'll save you 10%. So if you're looking to order something from Walton's, and I'd be interested if you guys have noticed anything different from an ordering aspect on Walton's in the last couple of weeks. Because we did make one significant change that I think people really seem to like, and it is bearing fruit. All right, I'm gonna grab you, bring you over here, and we are gonna flush the insides of these casings. Now, unfortunately for this, I'm not gonna be able to see comments for a while, so Papa Sop, a few of you. If you see any questions that I would normally answer, help me out. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting this on to just above a trickle, right? That's about the half a width of a pencil. I'm making sure the water is warm. Doesn't need to be hot, just warm. And I'm gonna grab a run of these casings. So these are natural hog casings, so this is pig intestine. And I'm gonna hold it underneath this water and just kind of let the water find the opening of this. You can see it's already starting to do it, and there we go. Instead of trying to pull this apart, I just let the water find that opening and then I hold it open. Much, much easier. And as you can see, it runs down into the casing. Did you see that? Look at that. See that? It almost looks like a peeing. That's a pinhole, right? So these are home pack casings. Casings come in a couple of different variants. There is Hank, home pack, and a Hank is 100 yards. A home pack is enough to do about 25 pounds of meat. And one of the differences is that the best the best casings are going to go to tubed casings, right? Then the other ones will go to these 100-yard Hanks. And then kind of the ones that are like a little bit leftovers are going to be used for the home packs. And that's just the way it goes at the processing plant. So you're going to expect a little bit more. Where are you? You're going to expect a little bit more pinholes on home pack casings than you would on Hanks, and certainly more than you would expect on the tubed casings. Tubed casings need to be like the pick of the litter. Those need to be really, really good, because what we're going to do with those, or what the processing plant is going to do with them, is they are going to sleeve them onto a plastic little container, and that is going to make loading much easier, and we don't have to do this. There's no flushing when we're talking about tubed casings. So they cost a little bit more. I apparently completely lost the opening of that. They're going to cost a little bit more, but they're going to save us time, and they're going to give us a better finished product. And there we go. Got that one. You can see it, I hope you can see it down in there. And I do it till it's just about 3/4 of the way filled. And then I run it all the way through. And there we go. And that was a nice long run of it. Some of these are pretty short. Well, the last couple I've gotten have been decent sized. That one was super easy to find. So we're just filling it up, filling it up. Get to the end of the casing here, and we're just rinsing the inside of it, right? We just want that cleaned out. It'll also make loading them a lot easier. That one's so short, I don't even want to use it. That's a good one. Oh no, it's tied up. This is part of the home pack casings. They will get knotted up. You got to do a little bit of finagling to get them free. But they are far less expensive. And the longer they soak, generally the easier it is to flush them as well. Right, you get that casing more pliable, and it's easier for it to find that opening. So grab the end of this, and just let that water run right out. We're gonna do one more, and then that should be more than enough for the 16 pounds that we have. Hopefully I'm not missing any important chats right now. And if somebody has a better way of flushing casings, listen, I'm all for it. I've seen people have little attachments. That seems to work really well, but I just don't have one of those. So we've got a little knot in it here. So it's not going to get past that. So I'm just going to break it off right before that knot. We'll get rid of that. All right. Last two, and then we're done. Now, if I was doing a cured sausage, I would have stopped and taken the meat that's sitting out right now, waiting to be stuffed, and put it in my cooler. But since it's a bratwurst, and we're gonna go right to cooking, I'm not that concerned with it. I'm gonna fill this back up with hot water, and we're gonna load our stuffer and get going. All right, hopefully that wasn't too boring for you guys. And I'll try and, I'll try and look at chats for a couple of seconds before I start the stuffing process. Move this back here. And this stuff can all go on the floor for now. Bratwurst isn't really that hard to make. Honestly, generally, oh God, how far behind am I? Yikes. Generally, it takes me longer to clean than it does to make the bratwurst. I'm gonna reload with new beer before we go to stuffing. Try and straighten this out too, because that looks a little bit wonky. Hopefully that's better. All right. Snag 2 new polliners. All right, looking at, thank you, Dwight, I appreciate that. Why am I not using tubed casings? Because a couple of weeks ago, I did a live stream called Bratwurst on a Budget. And I had these casings left over from that, and I didn't want to waste them. But in general, I do use tubed casings. They load a lot easier. They're much longer runs, so I have to spend less time filling my stuffing tube or putting casings on my stuffing tube. And they have less pinholes, less chance of blowouts. So I like them better. Now, just being 100% honest, I also don't pay for these casings, right? So the cost to me doesn't matter as much as it might to you. So the home pack casings might be something that you care about more than I do. Ooh. All right, we should easily be able to get all of this into a single canister, get it stuffed. And then because of what happened last week with losing the Wi-Fi outside, I'm not even gonna bother bringing the camera out there. So we're gonna stuff these. I'll run out real quick. I'll just put them on the grill. We'll link them in here. I'll put them on the grill and then I'll come right back in. And we'll hang out here, or in here. Because that made me fairly annoyed. I don't know if you guys could tell that, but we had a lot of people for these live streams, at least, on at a single time. And it just, once that live stream went out for a while, it never got back to having as many people on. Because I like doing these and I want to keep doing these. We just need to keep trying to reach new people as we're doing them. All right. Out of curiosity, who's on tonight has had the Bavarian Oktoberfest Bratwurst seasoning yet? Anybody? It's not an incredibly popular one. We don't sell a ton of it. Let me get my laptop out of the way. So has anyone tried it? Because if not, you should. It's got a really nice, how would I describe it? Slightly, my father loved Limburger cheese. It's not much, but it's got a little bit of that flavor to it. Just really, really slight, but it is absolutely excellent. So Texas had it, Dwight has not. Yeah, it's worth trying. If you want to try something a little bit different, but also traditional, it's a good way to go. Ah, God, that's good. All right. And then I did bring a bunch of different mustards to try. That was somebody's suggestion. I don't know who, but it was a good one. So I like to keep the bowl with the casings really near the stuffer. And the reason for that is even in just the short time it takes to stuff these, we can run into a problem with the casings starting to dry out. And I like to grab just a little bit of water from there and rehydrate the casings. Now, when I'm putting these on, I'm pulling the casing on, but I'm also ever so slightly pulling back on this casing. I want to try and keep this right in the middle. And that just makes it load much easier. If I'm able to keep this casing centered on the stuffing tube, it makes loading a lot easier. So we're going to keep that right around the corner. And then as soon as I hear the tone change in the motor, and you'll hear it too, I'm going to slow it way down. And these are 28 to 30 millimeter casings, so a little bit thinner. 32 to 35 would be more traditional for a Bavarian Bratwurst. But I'm going to put some of these in a bun, and the 32 to 35 split buns. They're just too thick. I'm placing an order right now, so you'll add it. Awesome, I appreciate that, Dwight. Dwight, if you haven't ordered from us in a while, let me know if you do notice anything different. So I'm gonna hold this on fairly loosely when I'm doing any type of bratwurst or anything like this. One of the things that I always like to remember is I can always twist it another time or two to tighten up that casing. Once something gets a blowout in it though, it's over and it's a huge pain in the butt. So I always slightly understuff, especially with these casings. With, if we're talking about collagen casings, I'm a little bit less worried about it because A, they're not as prone to blowouts, and B, they're not gonna hold a casing shape anyways. Once you cut in between your links on a collagen casing, they're gonna open right back up again. Where are you? All right, so same thing. I do a little bit of like back and forth pulling until all of a sudden you'll just see, there we go. You get it right in the middle and it just slides right on. But, right, because these are home packs, right? They're what we call shorter runs. Like, that's a full run. So if I was doing collagen casings, I don't have to worry about that. Like, I don't have to spend any more time doing this. And I don't tie the ends of my casings either. I know some people do, I just don't see a reason for it. So it comes off fast, fast, fast. So we're just barely holding these on, paying real good attention to when it's gonna run out of casing, and about 6 inches short, we're gonna stop, and then let that piston go back up, just to relieve pressure and to stop it from coming any further down. Next one. And again, I mean, this is a downside of not only, look how short this run is. We're gonna save that for last. Hopefully I won't be or won't need to use that because that's an annoyingly short casing. All right, got the opening there. We're just loading it right on. I don't like the foot pedal. I don't like the foot pedal. I know everybody else does, but it feels weird on my shin, and I'm just not good with it. Oh, shoot. Yeah, and you distracted me. That's your fault, text. All right. Run that. Do I even have enough casings for this? I think I do. But we'd be done now had we used the tubed casings, because you just grab it and go push it on, pull this little casing sleeve right out of it, your casings load, and it's a long amount. Like, it would be at least the shortest run I would expect is everything that's down here already in a single load. So yes, more expensive, but it saves time, saves effort, and you end up with a slightly better product. Like, look how short this is about to be. Look at that. That's 3 bratwursts. But again, they are far less expensive. And occasionally, I have to remember that I get spoiled as hell getting to choose, oh, I want to use the electric stuffer today. I'll use my 22 with a one-shot. And that's just not what everybody has at home. Loading that, it's a little bit longer, but we might have to dip into some collagen casings here. I might run out. Ooh, that cut in on itself. All right, darn it, I wish we had a close-up of that. What happened there is when I loaded it, I actually pulled the casing up and over itself. So I had a, I don't know how to describe it, like a sleeve of casing on the inside and then a sleeve of the casing over it. Obviously, can cause problems, did cause problems. Something you've not started to go through withdrawals. Yeah, Tex, I forgot to ask about your catalog today. Papa Sop, you didn't get yours either? We didn't, like, I know we didn't take either one of you guys off the catalog list for any reason. I'll show you something also about natural casings here in a second. We've got some whiskers on this, and I want to show you guys what you can see it right here. So whiskers are basically capillaries. I'll show you after I stuff it. They're capillaries in the casing on the intestine, and they generally do a good job getting most of them off, but burst the heck out of that casing by not paying attention. I'm getting too excited talking about capillaries, apparently. Let me get a knife, cut this, and I'll bring it up and close and show you. All right, so these are what are called whiskers. And they're just these little things that hang off the casing. There's nothing wrong with the casing. That is a totally normal part of it. And when you cook them, those will basically completely disappear, right? It's just a blood capillary of the internal hog intestine. And we're gonna go ahead and go all the way back up so we can put all that meat back in. And we're gonna switch over to collagen casings. And I planned this. This was all planned. All planned to show you guys the difference between natural and collagen casings. God, I'm good at my job. Look at that, so smart. So smart. One of the things I always like to do, actually I have the microphone right here. One of the things I always like to do when I'm using collagen casings is show people what they should sound like. Like when I run my hands over it, it shouldn't sound papery at all. If your collagen casings sound papery when you're going to use them, it's because they're dried out. And those casings are brittle and they're gonna break real fast. So replace them. Yep. I mean, tube casings are way more popular now than they used to be. And I think that's partially, like, especially for you two, you've gone past the hobbyist, right? Like you guys are now sausage makers. But for somebody just getting into it, it's so much more attractive paying the cost of a home pack than it is for a whole hank of tube casings. Plus, if they're buying the tube casings, they probably don't know what to do with the vast majority of the leftover, right? They're probably making a 10-pound batch. So they've used a tenth of the casings they have, and then they're gonna end up getting rid of those. Ah, delicious. ND Mike got his catalog. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure you were out there keeping the highways of North Dakota safe. All right. So we're just gonna load this last little bit in, and then we're gonna switch up to collagen casings. We're gonna do some linking, and we're gonna throw everything on the Camp Chef out there, including I'm gonna reheat those onions, and we'll be good to go. But unfortunately, like I said, we're not going out there together. You guys are staying in here as I go put things on the grill. But I'll just link up a few of these, put them out there, and then come back in and I'll link the rest of these. Tex, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I like you too. Are you a little bit jealous that ND Mike and I are friends? I'm standing on an extension cord back here and it's driving me nuts. My last order was all tube casings, hog and sheep. Yeah, that's one thing I've actually never used is tube sheep casings. I don't make much breakfast sausage. And for snack sticks, I always use collagen, the smoked collagen. So I don't have a lot of use for tube sheep casings. And if I'm doing hot dogs, I like the cellulose casings. I like a casingless hot dog. I think it eats much, much better. I agree, Andy Mike. I'm happy that Papa Sop is back. Hopefully everything is going well. I know GWG made a mention the other day that he had a health issue. And it just reminded me how important your health is to living a good and happy life. Like, life is a lot easier when you're healthy, both physically and mentally. Makes the whole experience a lot better. Or you can just drink. God, that is the first like good beer I've had in months. Very, very tasty. Slow it down. And we're just holding this on. I'm looking for collagen casings. I'm looking for a faint swirl pattern down the outside of the casing to let me know that it's fully stuffed. And again, same thing with this casing. I want a little bit of understuffed casing. Understuffed casing is way better than overstuffed casing because I can always twist it just a few times more, and that will tighten that link up. But if I overstuff it and I pop that casing, well, then I'm kind of screwed, right? We have to wait till it gets all the way back up so we can take everything out of that casing and put it back in. All right, while that's doing that, let's adjust viewing a little bit here. I guess I can just move this over here, trying to stay centered. All right, so if we grab this short little nothing run, all I'm gonna do is squeeze down a little bit, pinch, twist a few times, fold it down. Gonna have to make 3 shorties here. No, I'm gonna make 2 regular sized sausages and 1 little nonsense sausage. All right, and then as soon as I cut this casing is gonna stay nice and closed, right? So I'm putting this is the one right over there. I'm gonna take same meat, everything we just did, twist this down. I'm gonna twist it more, right? So I got it nice and twisted. I'm gonna cut this down, and then I'm gonna show you a close-up. Here's what it looks like on a natural casing. See how that's really nice and closed and tight? Like, we've got a cool looking end to it. Here is collagen. It's already opening up, and if I cook it at too high of a heat, this meat here is gonna start to expand, and we're gonna end up with a bulb on the end of our sausage. So, we gotta start talking about pros and cons. Is the extra effort it took me to use these casings worth that benefit? It looking a little bit cooler, a little bit neater. It depends what kind of sausage you're making, who you're making it for. All of these things come into consideration. So I'm gonna just real quick do a few of these so I can get them on the grill. And then we can start playing around with a couple of different ways to link up sausage when I get back from putting them on there. Because again, I am gonna leave you, the viewer, in here because we keep losing connectivity every time we go outside, and it's a pain in the butt. I don't want to do it anymore. Should we make, yeah. We'll do a couple of each. Nice thing about collagen also is it does better in a bun. That one, there's very few things where I'm like, no, I'm right on this. On this one, I'm right. It lays perfectly flat, sits right in that bun, where this, no matter what I do when I cook it, it's gonna be some version of that shape when I'm done. And it just doesn't sit as nicely in a bun. All right, so I've got 4 collagen, a little sad, didn't quite make it to be a sausage, and a good amount of those. Okay. So I'm gonna grab these, throw them on the grill, and I will be right back. Amuse yourselves while I'm gone. You'll still be able to hear me. And Tex, I actually came up with something where I leave my keys outside no matter what during this entire process. So I cannot lock myself out. Physically not possible. Now, there's always the unfortunate possibility that I might grab those keys and bring them in with me, but I'm not supposed to do that. Grill I'm cooking these on is a Camp Chef Woodwind, which is just a pellet grill smoker combo. It's what I have at my house. The version that I'm cooking on right now is the large 36-inch model. I'm not the biggest fan of this size. I like them a little bit smaller, mostly because it heats up quicker and keeps a more steady temperature. Keys stayed outside. That's the important part. All right. Rinse out that bowl. All right, and before I get to linking all these, I'm gonna take a quick run through comments and just see how everything's going. Tex is gone. Thanks, Tex, we appreciate it. Sheep is just for breakfast sausage. Yep, that makes sense. In Maine, they all want the red hot dogs with casings. Yeah, so in Maine, red hots are a big thing in Maine. I did not know that. Who is that? Oh, it's Craig. I love natural casings, but my wife doesn't like the snap. She's weird. That's why I give you crap. I don't know who you're talking to there, but I assume it's me. Yeah, I didn't know red hots were a big thing in Maine. And I've spent not a ton of time in Maine, but a decent amount of time in Maine. I love that state. It is absolutely gorgeous. For anybody who has not been to Maine, New Hampshire, or Vermont, that area of the country, you're going to be amazed. Look at the size of that fatty. You're going to be amazed at how gorgeous it is up there. Really, really pretty, and not just in the fall. They get a lot of, obviously their foliage is incredible in the fall, but all summer long, it's amazing up there. I'd stay away from winter if you don't like freezing cold temperatures and staying indoors unless you're bundled up. Specifically, northern Maine gets brutal. So I'm just cutting single individuals here. You can do them time and time again. Just if you are gonna link like that, multiple things, like here, I'll show you. If we go away from me and then hold it down and then we go away from me again, look what happens here. It comes undone. So you have to go away from you and then towards you, right? And then I just went towards me. So then I'm gonna go away from me again, hang it down, towards me, hang it down, away from me. So you just have to alternate every time. And even if you do the somewhat fancy move and skip a sausage, you still need to change orientation. Craig Rice, when you get north of my place, you run out of civilization. Oh God, does that sound amazing? Just away from everybody, nobody around. That sounds exactly like what I'm looking for. Hopefully, when I retire, I will be able to afford a place that is out in the middle of nowhere. And my only communication with everybody else will be through phones and perchance things like this if I'm still doing that. But in general, to be away from people sounds heavenly. Oh, you're north of Bangor. Wow, yeah, you are up there. First moose I ever saw in the wild was just north of Bangor. I used to date a girl who went to Colby College, and we took a camping trip up into northern Maine once, and I've been there a few other times. It is, like I said, you have an absolutely gorgeous state. The other state that's surprisingly pretty that I don't think enough people realize, dude, Minnesota is gorgeous. It really is an incredibly pretty state. As long as you get away from the cities. Cities are disgusting. Has anyone seen, Sinister MD, are you on tonight? If you're on, say hi. Because you came up in a meeting today, in a good way. And if I don't hear from you the next day or two, I'm gonna reach out to you. So occasionally I'm gonna end up these little fatties. I still just cook them up. I would rather have 3 regular sized sausages and a fatty than 4 shorter sausages that I don't really know what to do with. So I'm just going opposite direction each time, and I'm feeling it as I pinch down. Like, is this tight? Is this loose? If it's tight, I'll do 1 spin. If it's loose, I'll do a few spins. And again, we ended up with another little, ooh. Well, that wasn't great. I'm not going to show you that one because I did not do a good job. If it was perfect, I would show it to you all day long. All right. So with this little bit left, they're 2 different things. This would be perfect then. I'm going to do something, I call it the football knot. People call it all sorts of different things. Dwight says, not bitching, just wondering why the product codes are so long. Hold on, let me look at that. Sheepworks. The product codes, are you talking about the coupon code? Or like our SKUs? Let me know which one you mean. Normally I try and make them short, like I made the last one, Oct 25, but that seemed to actually confuse people. So I went back to something longer. But let me know if you mean, because that's valuable feedback. Let me know if you mean the product codes or the coupon code. All right, so I'm gonna make a sausage here. I got a little bit of extra skin on the end. I'm gonna pinch down and I'm gonna grab that extra casing. I'm just gonna spin it around, okay? So now hopefully that's enough to keep this closed. I'm gonna grab my rope, bring it up, pinch it right there, and pull my casing up and through, okay? I'm then gonna make another sausage as whatever length I want, twist it, bring it down, pinch it, twist that whole thing, and I'm gonna do the same thing as I did the first time. We're pinching it down, bringing it up and through, make another casing, or make another sausage, twist it. Probably made that too long, where we're gonna have a little slight orphan. No, that's about perfect size. All right, So we've got this, you can call it butcher's knot, you can call it football casing, whatever you want. The real advantage of this, because somebody asked me the other day, other than it looking cool or whatever you want to say, is if you were trying to smoke a sausage that has a casing that's not really rated for smoking, if you do something like this, you can take a smoke stick, put it through here, have one down in the middle, and put it through here, if I had enough casing to wrap this around. And then we can smoke that, and it's gonna hold. It's not gonna break, right? Because we're not putting as much stress on the casing as we would be if we were just running straight long loops. That's when casings tend to fail. If you try to use like a fresh collagen and hang it all the way to the floor of your smoker. If you do this, you should be good. SKUs. Yeah, SKUs is not really. Dude, we have 5,000 SKUs in our system, and that's, I don't even think that includes all our parts. So it's just, it's the way it goes. And our SKUs, when I was in customer service, when I started here, because that's how I started working with Waltons, they made sense to me. Like I remembered what all the prefixes were and all of that. Now, I remember seasonings start with 4, equipment starts with 1, and that's it. That's all I remember. That was for whoever told me to take a sip. Ezekiel Reyes. All right, I'm gonna go check on those real quick. I'm gonna put these in just my fridge right here. I will be right back. And don't forget, the code is Bratwurst, and it's good for 10% off anything on waltons.com right now that's not currently on sale. Nice. These are looking good. Okay. You know what? That's another downside of collagen. If you're gonna cook them on a grill that's slightly not even, collagen has a much higher tendency to roll out, to roll to whatever side is not even. Natural casings, because of that curve, really do a good job like hanging where they are. And I'm gonna throw my previously sauteed onions back in to my cast iron skillet that I have, heating up in the smoker. Hopefully that helps separate them because, ooh, they kind of congealed together. All right, going back inside. After I take the temperature of just a few of these. 120, 130. And we're gonna have to move a few of these around. Sorry guys, I will be back in just a minute. I gotta get some stuff out of the hot zones and out of the cold zones so they cook evenly. All right, that should be good. Nervous about how quickly these onions are sizzling. All right. And we will, guys, we will come up with a better plan for how to be able to bring you guys outside with us so I don't leave you blank with nothing to look at and just my, let's be honest, mid voice to listen to. But it's gonna take just a bit. I did also talk to Brett and we are going to, in the next couple of months, do what I've wanted to do since the very first live stream. We're gonna basically hand the phone to Brett and let him walk you through our new building and explain why he chose everything, what everything is. For people who don't really know us that well, we're a small family company, about 60 something employees right now, in that range. And our owner, their whole family is incredibly involved. When I started working here 11 years ago, Brett was the owner. Both his sons, or two of his sons, worked with the company, but they were just regular employees. Things have changed. They're all now co-owners. And we built this insane new facility that I think is cool as hell. I think you guys are really gonna like it. But we're just waiting to get everything absolutely perfect to show it to you. And I think you guys getting to see Brett explain it to you will be a really cool thing. So Brett's been in this industry for 35 years. His dad was in it before that. So tons of experience, tons of thought went into how to set this all up. So I think you guys will really like that. I hope that that ends up being one of our better live streams. All right, I'm gonna look at a few chats just in case. -50 working construction in Minnesota. Oh my good, no. MC, it's not -50 in Minnesota. Please don't tell me that. Or are you saying like at the worst in Minnesota? He must be behind. He's gotta be behind. That must have been when I said Minnesota is beautiful as well. Because there's no way it could be -50 degrees right now in Minnesota. Oh, back in the day. Yes. I'm 100% sure that it gets that cold up there. I mean, I've driven through northern Minnesota enough times on my way to Canada to know that it's just like timber, lakes, hills, few, like we could call them mountains, but they're really not. But it is absolutely gorgeous up there. I love it. MC, if I can ask, do you watch like any of the Flush, Minnesota Bound, the Ron Shera stuff? What was the last film I watched? Oh my God, I'm so excited that somebody asked me that. It feels almost like a setup. Who is that? Josh Hunt. I just watched the glorious movie called Grizzly 2, The Revenge. It is on Netflix right now, and I highly recommend it. You're gonna feel like you're in a fever dream. The movie makes no sense, and in the first 5 minutes, Charlie Sheen, Laura Dern, and what is his name? Well, the most famous of them I can never think of. George Clooney. All get eaten by an 18-foot tall bear. Do you need more than that to realize that that's an awesome, awesome movie to watch? Probably not. But then it gets even crazier with just scattered throughout who's in the movie. It's absolutely insane. So go watch Grizzly 2. It's terrible, like literally one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But it's awesome. MC says, I grew up watching Minnesota Bound and still watch it on YouTube. Yep. So we've advertised with Ron Shera for a fairly long time. And I never really understood what a big deal he was until I was driving in a car. It was me and Travis Frank, one of the hosts of The Flush. And we were on our way somewhere. We were meeting Ron. And we called him to like coordinate something. And as we're on the phone, I hear in the background, I hear, my grandpa and me used to watch you every Sunday morning. I love you. And he's like, oh, thank you. You know, he's such a sweet guy. But I had no idea that he was that big a deal in that area of the country. And he is. And he is literally one of the sweetest men. Like, he's just a good dude. Oh, shit, what was that? I'll be right back. Oh, okay. That was just the FedEx trailer changing out, but it sounded like a gunshot in there for a second. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sure I probably said something I shouldn't. All right, but we've got about 2 or 3 more minutes on these sausages. So I'll come back in. We'll get something to bring them back in on, including those delicious onions that look amazing. I did put on these onions, I put a little bit of brisket balm. So where's brisket balm? Brisket balm is a Spiceology seasoning. It is salt. It's Chad White's. If you know, then you know. It is salt, pepper, brisket blend with some coffee, and it works well on just about everything. Really, really good seasoning. Thank you, ND Mike. I appreciate you being nice enough to let that slide. Since you weren't here earlier, I will let you know that I did get an eagle on Sunday morning. MC says that show will bring a tear to your eye watching all the good still out there. Yep, they do an excellent job. And so I've hung out with a bunch of those guys, and I got to tell you, 2 of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life are Travis Frank and Bill Shirk. Like, they are legitimately great people. I've had the best fishing days of my life with both of them. Just good dudes. You hang out with them doing anything and you'd have a good time. So, even though Travis wears a boy's medium, like at best, that dude is tiny. He's maybe this tall. He's actually the exact same height as I am. I just like making fun of him. Yeah, they really are. The whole company up there, the whole Ron Scherer production guys, Scott is their owner and CEO. He's awesome. So they do a good job. All right. I'm going to get this cutting board out there. And I will be right back with all those sausages. And then we do have some different mustards to try, but I don't have, honestly, I just don't have incredibly high hopes for any of them. Yeah, it's going to be too much of a pain in the butt. So if you hear that, that is our FedEx truck switching out trailers. So every night they pick up the previous trailer and load us a new one. When I started working here, we used to load a UPS truck by hand, and not like a UPS trailer, but a UPS truck by hand. And then we've switched to, or progressed to, every night we have a brand new, huge FedEx trailer come in. So it's been a ton of fun to be with this company as it's gone through these awesome advances. I'm extremely lucky and not ignorant to the fact that I've been that lucky. All right. Oh, shoot, I wish Tex was still here so I could tell him to go check the ESPN Power Football Power Index, because, oh, good Lord, are you going to be amazed at how high Notre Dame is on that ranking. It's insane. All right, so we learned a couple of good things here. I think number one, we learned don't saute your onions early and then try and reheat them, because that's not a good look. Oh, it's a good taste though. Ooh. Mm. Oh, that is delicious. All right, let's get 2 of these in a bun. I'm gonna show you the difference between, I'll take one of the straighter of the natural casings. Nope, don't want to use that. Let's touch raw pork. We're going to cut off that little bit at the end. And then we're going to grab one and throw a collagen casing in it. Come around the side and I'll show you guys what I was talking about. So here's where you have to decide what's important to you. Here is the collagen casing. Super nice and straight, right? Fits in a bun perfectly. But look at that. No matter how well you stuff them, they bulb out on the end. So it's just not a great look to it. Here is this gorgeous natural sausage casing, but it wants to sit on top of the bun at the ends. Flip it up and down, you say? We can do that. I've tried that many times. And then look at this entire center section. So it is all about what's most important to you. Is it looks? Is it functionality? Is it bite? Some people prefer the snap, knack, bite, whatever you want to call it, of a natural casing versus the snap, knack, or bite of a collagen casing. People who sell natural casings will show you studies that say natural casings are more popular with how people like the bite. People who say or sell the other casing will say the exact same thing. So, I mean, it is what it is. But we're gonna bite out of natural casings because that's what we started with here. Mm-hmm. No, I'm hungry. I'm not hot. Oh, it's hot. But such a delicious flavor. The Bavarian Oktoberfest is really one of the best, like, traditional brats with a little flair on it that makes it just something a little bit different. And sauteing onions, and I just did these in butter. I didn't even do it in beef tallow, which would probably be better. Kicks it up. Oh, my God, that's good. All right. All right, so mustard. I've got a couple of these granny mustards that we sell. I'm gonna snag a few more from my fridge because I am a fairly big mustard fan. I've also got some Dijon. And I wanted to try this. This would be weird. Follow me here though. There's a chance this is good. Could also be absolutely disgusting. I'm gonna leave it off camera for right now. So I've got some Dijon. I have some, is this the hickory? I'm assuming that's the hickory. I've got some honey mustard and I've got some sweet and tangy. Now, I don't like honey mustard in general, so that's going away. I know a lot of people like honey mustard, I just don't like the taste of it. Roll. God, that's good. First one I really want to try is the Dijon. I love Dijon. From when I was a little kid and the Grey Poupon commercials were on, I always enjoyed that. So we're just going to cut a little bit here for each one. I'm going to steal a little bit of this Dijon here. Just get a little scoop. So a decent amount. The bite that Dijon adds to things is phenomenal. I love that. Good Lord, I like that. That is such a good flavor. We're actually going to do one more of those just so I can taste it again. And this already has a little bit of a bite. Earlier, if you were watching all the way through, I said something about Limburger. My dad was a big fan of Limburger. It's in that realm. It's not quite Limburger, but it's a little like, there's something in the seasoning that like punches you just a little bit. Add this to it. Oh, that is delicious. All right, so now we'll add, also, I fully went into this expecting the next one, not this one, the sweet and tangy, but the mesquite to be my favorite. But it's going to be hard to beat that. So this is sweet and tangy. If you've ever had, was it Wendy's? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Wendy's sweet and tangy sauce. This is exactly what that tastes like. Like to the T. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Granny, I think it's Granny Smith? No, Granny Inc. makes their sweet and tangy sauce. Really, really nice. And then this, which I love, their mesquite mustard I put on, not everything, but on a lot of things. That delicious smoky flavor, absolutely some added sweetness, but they both lose. With this sausage specifically, just a little bit of like a good sharp Dijon mustard, incredible. All right, let's see if I can figure out what's going on in chat. I know I monologued there for a while. Dwight says the only thing he noticed was the address verification. Dwight, hopefully you're still on. You didn't notice anything different in the shipping options? Craig says, how would they be smoked? How would what be smoked? How would the sausages be smoked? I generally don't like or do smoked sausage unless I've added some sodium nitrite and either a cure accelerator or let them sit for long enough for that cure to start breaking down into nitric oxide. Oh, excuse me. God, burping like crazy. No. Tammy's Crochet Corner says, honey mustard is the best. It tastes like regular mustard. No, it doesn't. I don't like honey mustard. But here, let me throw a little olive branch out to you. I also don't love one of our newest seasonings called, what is it called? Beehive Barbecue. Named it, came up with the name, but I don't think I'm a big honey fan. Like, I also don't like the old, like, honey barbecue seasoning we had either. I think there's something about honey that doesn't sit quite right with me. How much is your, God, 6.5%? I assume that's what you're asking? Like what the percentage is of nitrite in it. So 6.5%. I believe that's correct. I apologize. But I'm pretty sure that's correct. Ah, delicious. Are you in the States and do you ship to Canada? So that's from Tammy. So yes, we do ship to Canada. It's very expensive. Austin, my boss and I went through, we went to hell and back again. We almost had it worked out where we would be able to ship to Canada more reasonably. We even went through, what was it called? Something Wild. We spent a lot of money advertising in Canada because we thought this was like a done deal. We thought we were all good. So what's the name of it? Canada Wild? It might even just be Canada Wild. And it just doesn't work. Every time we tried to ship something up there under this like new way of doing it, there was a problem. So we're back to the old thing. If you go to waltons.com, place your order, it will tell you like what your actual costs will be. But it is fairly expensive. No, that's definitely not true. You might actually, if you looked me up, you might actually be talking about the John Tremblay, who is a Canadian hockey player. He was a goon for Calgary, I think, something like that. How much is your high temp hot cheese? All right, so let's talk about a few things here. I believe we're now at like $11.99 a pound. For years and years and years and years, we were the cheapest people on the high temp cheese, but it's so expensive to ship that we were losing money on every single order. Like if somebody would order 1 pound of cheese, we were losing money on it. So yeah, it's $11.99 a pound. But when you say hot cheese, because I thought I read that, how much is your high temp hot cheese? The hot is what I want to focus on there. If you want it to add heat to your sausage, the only one that's going to actually do that is the ghost pepper. And the ghost pepper is going to add a lot of heat to your sausage. It is a really, really hot cheese. So be careful with that. It's not a joke. But like even the hot pepper, I mean, it might as well be called Monterey Jack, right? Like it's got a little bit of heat to it, but it's nothing impressive. So when we first got the ghost pepper in, I was running off the like, oh, this cheese isn't that hot. And I took a handful of that cheese and ate it. And oh, good Lord, did I regret that. I was sweating from my scalp for about 30 minutes. That ghost pepper cheese is legit. Like it's got ghost pepper in it. It's really hot. Or, this is always possible, I might just be a baby. Which mustard? I mean, you could get any of these mustards. I don't even think this is Trader Joe's. Not a fan. Though I did like the mustard itself. I'm not a fan. Ooh. Here's an interesting last option that we're gonna do. This is El Paso queso sauce. And I have this weird feeling it might be really good. The reason I brought this out initially is because I bought some Bavarian nuggets. We'll eat one of those first, with a little queso sauce on it. Yeah, and that's incredible. But I have a strange feeling that might be really good on this Bavarian sausage. I'm just gonna squeeze some of that on there. No, I was wrong. The taco seasoning, whatever is in this, does not mix with the Bavarian. Oh, good Lord, that's not good. I have like two different tastes going to war in my mouth right now, and I currently don't like either one. Ugh. Ugh. No, thank you. Not a big fan. Now, how would that be in the taco snack sticks? I assume you're talking about this. I mean, I bet pretty darn good. If you're talking about the ghost pepper cheese, it's gonna take the taco snack stick from like a 0 to 10 scale of heat, from like a 4, 3, probably a 3, to a 6 or 7, right? Like, it's not the hottest thing in the world, the high temp ghost pepper cheese, but it is hot. I used to have this whole formula when I was in customer service for how much hot pepper to add to a customer's product to make it like this much hotter. As soon as we got the high temp ghost pepper cheese in, I was like, nope, just add this. Doesn't matter, add this, it'll make it hotter. Because, you know, there's 60,000 red pepper, 120,000 red pepper. Like, I think there's one that's like 20,000 red pepper, so super low. So you have to factor all that in into like how much you need to add. And as soon as we got the ghost pepper cheese, it was like, nope, this is just add that, it'll do it. It really was a game changer for people looking to add just a little bit of heat to something. I mean, I've drank all the beer. But all right, guys, we will be back next week. We were supposed to do Weisswurst tonight, but we sold out of the seasoning last week, so we didn't do that. I don't remember what I have for next week, but I think it's something fun. So anyways, next week, Monday night, 5:30 Central Standard Time, we'll be here. Join us. See you guys.